Back-to-back against Toronto.
We'll take it.
Wednesday night next. We'll be giving away Red Wing tickets later in the show today. We've got tickets for every home game for the Centennial season, so listen along. Your chance to win. Some takeaways from the Tiger press yesterday. You had Harris, you had Hinch, talked about the season, the post-mortem. Texts. Harris comes off as reactive and not proactive.
I actually think he kind of came off a little bit both yesterday in regards to admitting that this lineup's not good enough and that they need to improve the process so that it is better by the end of the season. But adding to it is something that I think they're very much willing to do.
So, I mean, by definition, it is reactive to say,
well, it's a postseason.
After the fact, yes. Yeah. Now, proactive, he'll have to show us this offseason that they're not just going to lean back and lean on internal players, that they're going to make significant strides outside the organization.
And I think when I talk about AJ's comment of we're not going to be naive and think we could just run it back and do this again, I think, especially with the extension that he got, he has a big influence on Scott Harris in what he wants for his lineup. And probably more so than maybe other managers do.
We can't trust that AA guys will be 300 hitters in the majors. The Tigers are counting on Clark and McGonigal to be can't miss, but we heard very similar things about Torque, Green, etc. Sidebar, I think 0 for 23 will be a stat we remember for a long time, Greg and St. Pete.
Oh, that's one that we will not forget.
Yeah, I don't think they can just say McGonigal's going to be here and be an all-star and a difference maker in his very first season of Major League Baseball.
No.
So while they may want to set aside an infield spot for him, you also have to play games in April and May, and you need to win games in April and May, and there's no guarantee that McGonigal is a difference maker in September next year. You need to win games in September and October next year.
Yeah. And there's no guarantee. Like, he may be on the roster at some point next year, and I think we all believe he will be, but in late March, early April, it might not.
Probably not. And even if he is, like, you cannot bank on the young players exclusively. We've been saying that since Harris arrived.
Right, but Scott Harris's time here with the Tigers, however long or brief it ends up being, will be tied to this group of prospects and what they do on this roster because of how he talks about them, not just at the trade deadline, but even yesterday.
My only gripe I had with Harris, he acknowledged he didn't make moves at the deadline based on, quote, 4 position player all-stars. If he's making decisions based on what fans are voting for, the franchise is doomed. Anyone with a brain could predict McKinstry wasn't going to keep that pace, signed Will.
I thought that was the biggest comment yesterday when he said, I trusted these batters who were the top 8 offense in MLB through August 31st, and then they crapped the bed.
So, in other words, I got fooled.
I think he said that without saying that directly.
Well, he acknowledged that he deserves questions and that the negativity swirling around this team is deserved.
So he's got to figure out this web of Baez, Meadows, McKinstry, Vierling, and who stays and who goes. And somebody needs to go out of that group because you can't run that back again.
You could argue multiple need to go because you need to be replacing them with better players.
Look, I love Parker's Meadows potential, but I think
how long can we say that?
Right. I think his defensive, how good he is defensively as a center fielder, are arguably the best in baseball. They just need to move on. That's a pretty big admission for me. I like him as a player.
Oh, I think we all like him as a player
and his potential. But you got to stop banking on that potential. I like that text where they said move Baez to center. You got to eat Javi. Javi's here. They're not going to buy him out.
Right.
So he plays center. You move on from Meadows. Maybe he's packaged in some sort of trade. Somebody buys his upside.
You add a Bo Bichette in the offseason or a Bregman, one of these veteran-proven infield bats, and you reshape and reshift your team.
And it's either Keith at third or second.
Right.
And look, I think everybody's fair game on this roster, to be honest. I think there's an interest, and I know we're going to get into more roster stuff like tomorrow or Thursday. There is a world of trading Riley Green because his ceiling, his trade value is there.
Well, you had Riley say in September, nobody cares about the strikeouts. And then Scott Harris went out of his way to go on a diatribe about how important contact is and we have too much swing and miss. It's like, well, your best all-star bat vehemently disagrees with the philosophy that you think this baseball team is. So either
set a franchise record in swing and miss.
So either you're fixing his swing or somebody else is fixing it because...
There's a super sell high value to him that is reminiscent of Curtis Granderson.
Yeah, but imagine the offseason where you've made back-to-back postseasons and you trade Skubal and Green. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you use like it's like a web. Like, they are kind of caught in between right now. They're much better, faster than I think they may have anticipated. But at the same time, they can't be the little engine that does this solely on internal players.
Right.
I mean, look at who's left standing in the playoffs right now. Monster payrolls, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. You're kind of, to your point, I don't think there's anyone that is safe. I really don't, because there was no one down the stretch that you could count on to say, all right, you're going to be our leadoff hitter. And maybe it's just Carp. Maybe he's safe.
I think Carpenter's safe. I think
Dingler's safe.
Keith is safe.
Oh, yeah, Dingler,
because of the
I think.
Contract.
Yeah, Keith because of the contract, and I think Dingler, who is, I don't know, is he, other than Skubal, was he the MVP?
Numbers wise, I still think it's Green, but I think he's a tremendous sell high asset right now.
Look, I think
Green is.
Yes.
Green is. Yeah. Skubal's a huge conversation we'll get to at 6:50. We'll keep taking your phone calls. We got Greg Palm. We got Heather with the news.
Well, a man has been arrested following a road rage incident in Detroit. A really interesting road rage incident. Apparently, it all started when this man kicked the victim's vehicle several times for no reason at all. Sounds like the victim said there was no altercation before this, never met the guy, so it wasn't like they had some ongoing beef. It just, this guy started kicking his car. So the encounter obviously led to the victim trying to get away. Jumped in his car, got onto the Southfield Freeway. Well, the man who was arrested, who was driving this orange Challenger, followed him and then suddenly cut him off and brake checked him, which then led to a crash. After the crash, the man that was arrested in that orange Challenger got out and started aggressively kicking the vehicle again, jumped on the hood and was kicking the windshield. Strange. Anyway, a passenger eventually got out. The guy in the orange Challenger jumped back in his car, sped away. Cops obviously found him later, arrested him. Very bizarre. Everyone's okay, but
no motive given for the
not yet. I'm sure everything is under investigation. They haven't released that. I'm sure there was.
At least he got away in a nondescript car.
Exactly. Jeez. You guys, a young girl is recovering after a speeding car crashed through her home in Centerline. Did you see this story?
I did, yeah.
It's so crazy. This little girl, 9 years old, was asleep in her bed when this car crashed through their home. It was right around 3 a.m. Monday morning. The crash threw the girl out of her bedroom window and into the backyard. She was found lying on top of the grass.
It's
crazy.
Okay, it is unbelievable.
This girl is in stable condition, but she is recovering. She has a fractured nose, spinal injuries to her ribs, her pelvis. She has a lacerated liver. It could have been far, far worse when you see the photos, because the truck literally went through the home and out the other side.
Yeah.
And there was a baby in the house sleeping just a couple feet away from this little girl, unharmed. The driver fled the scene but was arrested a short distance away. Police are waiting on the toxicology results to determine if alcohol or drugs were a factor in the crash. A man was arrested last week after allegedly stealing an iPad during a Facebook Marketplace exchange in Shelby Township. So somebody had listed the iPad for sale and then met with a potential buyer at an apartment complex to make, hopefully, a sale, right? So during this exchange, the seller handed the iPad to a man named Jared Barber to kind of look at, make sure this is what he wanted to buy. And while he was looking at it, he just took off running. So the seller called the police, and with the help of a canine, drones, they found Barber, and his home was searched. They found the stolen iPad, and he was arrested. It is scary when you do these Facebook Marketplace sales, though. You just don't really know who you're selling anything to. Of course, you can try to do like a check of their profile, but
doesn't have to be accurate.
No,
yeah.
Could it be a fake profile? You don't always know. Finally, the West Bloomfield Police Department is urging parents to talk to their kids about this new TikTok trend that is people using AI to prank others into thinking there is an intruder in their home. So according to police, it's called AI homeless man prank, is when people use AI to create a fake image of an intruder inside their home, and then they use that to scare family members or their roommates.
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, it's ridiculous. So police are saying these pranks can obviously create panic, lead to dangerous reactions, and waste emergency resources. So parents, talk to your kids about it.
Haha, mom and dad don't know what AI is. Ha ha ha. Okay, cool. Fun joke.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the police is at the door going,
and your parents or your roommate or whoever are freaked out thinking that there was an intruder in your home. Yeah.
That's Heather with the news. Coming up next, it's Greg Palm, the top 12 teams in college football from the mind of our very own Greg Hargrave. It's 97.1.